Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Abundance Channel. Again, my name is Laura Sullivan, and I am your spiritual geek host for the day. I'm super excited about today's video because I want to talk about our blocks, and I want to talk about 3 hidden blocks that could be keeping you from manifesting the life you deserve. So I know that a lot of people struggle with getting the desired outcome. So we're going to work on that today. The first thing I want to start with, because I think it's so important that you get to participate in this. So we're going to do a meditation towards the end. So I hope you stick around for that. But right now, what I want to do is I really want to call you all to connect with me and with everyone watching this video now and in the future. And when you're watching, it could be someone in the past, but connect with everyone as if we were all in the same room together. So I'm closing my eyes and I'm like saying hi to you all and just, greeting you all as if like we're old friends, and just, it's good to see you all. It's good to feel your energy coming in. And the more that you just connect with the energy of this video and everyone here, the more that we can bring our energy in to help one another create the desired outcomes. So thank you for joining in that. Thank you for taking the time to say hi to everyone. And let's go ahead and let's get started. So let's talk about blocks to manifestation. And one of the things that I find that I've encountered over many years of being very conscious in trying to create manifested outcomes in my life, and learning through really doing a lot of meditation, refinement, all kinds of different journeying through this process, is really trying to find out, a lot of it focuses on how to do manifestation, how to manifest. And what I'm going to focus on is what's getting in your way, right? I mean, many of us, I'm imagining if you're watching it, you've, one, tried to manifest, and two, you've had problems getting consistent outcomes. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the first item that I want to touch on, which is going to be best described as a belief that is in opposition to your desired outcome. So I'll give you 2 examples. Let's say that you're trying to manifest financial independence, right? You want to be wealthy, and there's all the things you want to do with that desired outcome, but that outcome we're just going to call wealth. And at the same time, if I were to ask you, and I'm just gonna have you do this, I'm gonna pause while I say that, because I'm gonna assume many of you would like that desired outcome. All right, so if I were to say to you, rich people are blank, what's the words that pop into your head that fill in that blank spot? Right? And for sometimes, that could be generous, but our society in general has a lot of opinions that tend to be negative. Our families, our culture, there's so many different things, our religion, that play into what we believe about wealth. And if you are trying to manifest financial abundance and you don't take the time to really explore where your beliefs are around this topic, then you're likely having challenges creating your desired outcome simply because you are not acting in alignment with where your internal belief system is. And, those beliefs determine what you create in life. Like, you are what your beliefs are. And so if your beliefs are that all rich people are greedy, then you're going to really have a hard time creating that sustained financial abundance, because you are going to continue to bump against the belief of, well, if I continue to grow my wealth, then that makes me someone who's greedy, or someone who's mean, or whatever those beliefs are. And I'll tell you, I really, really, really pay close attention to things that come up when I talk about it. So this came up for me, I don't know, sometime in the last month, where I was talking about this with someone, and I was talking about wanting to create, wealth, financial abundance. And I found myself internally, as I'm talking to someone, continuing, like, feeling compelled to explain why I want to be wealthy. And I wanted to explain that, if I were to become wealthy, that I would be able to do good things out in the community, as if I had to justify it. And being aware of those behaviors, those internal things that come up as you talk about it, are perfect cues for being able to really zero in on where some of those belief systems are. Because you may not be able to answer right off the top of your head, like fill in the blank, rich people are blank, right? That may not come to you right away. But as you sit and journal, or as you sit and meditate, or as you sit and just feel into your body when you say, I want to be rich. Like, where do you notice that? Like, I could feel stuff right in my chest when I said that just now. And it still felt like there was a little bit of tension, right? So that just tells me I have more work to do. And here's the other part of it. It's not about trying to resist that thought. It's not about, like, okay, instead I'm going to say rich people are awesome, or, whatever, and try to, like, force an opposition to that, right? Rich people are generous. So instead, what I have found is very helpful is to just, like I was just talking about, feeling that in your body. Instead, just sit with that feeling and just be okay, and just recognize that that feeling is there, and just see if you can bless that feeling, right? And just, whatever your belief system, whether it's God, spirit, the universe, Allah, Buddha, any number, whatever that is for you, then just ask for blessings, right? Just, there are times that when I'm working through those belief systems, I'm just, like, thinking about that, and I'm just bringing light to that feeling, to that thought, to that pattern. And so that's a great way to start working around those belief systems that are not in alignment and not moving in the same direction as what your goal is. So use that as a tool. And I can't wait to hear what you did and what your outcomes were with that. I really want you to share with me in your comments what that was like for them, because that anything that you're trying to manifest, anything, and that you haven't been able to successfully and consistently have that desired outcome, there are belief systems getting in the way there. I guarantee it. So let's talk about the next thing that gets in the way, and that is fear. That fear can show up in a variety of ways. So there are times that I've been trying to manifest an outcome where I was thinking like, well, who will I become if I become wealthy, right? Like, and I'm just going to use that as the common theme because it's such an easy one and it's such a common one. Who will I become? Will I become a greedy person? Or what if, I were to actually become more generous? What if I were able, because if I had financial freedom, then I could do all these things. But but fear is a big component that gets in the way of stuff coming up and actually that, realizing your outcomes. So another thing that I've seen come up with fear is when my desired outcome is to change a negative situation in my life. So I'm going to use one that is a very easy one for me to draw on, and you'll have to extrapolate it into your own life circumstances. So for the last several years, I've been running a Turo business. And if you're not familiar with Turo, it's like Airbnb for cars. So I had a fleet of, at the largest point, I had 12 cars that I rented out. And I got to the point last year where I decided I'm winding down that business. It had caused me so much pain and so much so like this time last year, I was just in a very, very dark, depressed place because I just didn't know how to get out. And when I'm in that place, that's a different kind of fear, right? I was in a survival fear place. I was paralyzed and I could not find a way out. I just didn't know. And so, you know, there's a lot of ways if you're finding yourself in that dire kind of place of fear. Sometimes the fear is just something that's as simple as you have a moment of anxiety come up, right? Or something like that. But this is like deciding, am I going to file for bankruptcy kind of fear. And so you know part of just being able to get yourself out of that place where you're just feeling so paralyzed by it is just to sit with it again, kind of like we used in the last example. But in this situation, it's being loving and it's being forgiving of yourself for all the things that you're feeling, because typically it is this downward spiral, and oftentimes it has to do with berating yourself or talking negatively to yourself. And so if you can just try to get yourself out of that downward spiral, that tailspin, then, and you don't have to know what the answer is. Like that is the key to me, is when you're in that place of fear, it's okay that you don't know the answer. And the one thing that is so easy for me to forget, but is so like monumentally critical, is I forget to ask for help. Whether I'm calling on, and I'm going to use the term spirit. You can use your own term, but I forget to ask spirit for help, and or my guides. And so almost instantly, when I remember to ask spirit for help or my guides or both, I start to feel a little bit of relief. And when you can start to feel a little bit of relief, then you can take the next step, which is to then distract yourself. And that's not easy because your brain wants to keep going back to it. But the more that you're focusing on the fear and the outcome that you're seeing right in front of you, or that you don't know how to solve, the more you focus on it, the more you're just keeping yourself just locked into that. So the whole point of just trying to get out of the fear block is to ask for help. Again, go back to blessing it, just asking for help, surrounding whatever it is. Maybe you see the word and maybe you just surround it with bright white light. And the other thing that I can do, and that this will help, is just try to find something else to focus on. And it doesn't have to be happy. I'm not trying to ask you to go do a 180 and go from feeling like despair to joy. Like that's too big of a jump. And oftentimes I've in the past tried to make that jump, and it's impossible to go that far up the spectrum of emotional state. But if I can go from despair to uncertain, that's a better feeling. And that actually is a little bit lighter. And then if I can just go from uncertain to, a lot of times I find things in nature to distract myself because that's my happy place that I go to, right? But like that could be your pets, that could be your kids, that could be your spouse, it could be, whatever is your happy place to go to. All of those things have been my happy place in the past. But I can just go and just distract myself with watching clouds float by, or seeing a rabbit hop along somewhere, or just having my cat come up and snuggle in my lap, which is to me spirit just sending a helper along to let me feel better, right? To give me love. And I don't even have to be in a place where I'm feeling love towards myself at that moment, right? I'm working towards that. But that to me is such a huge critical place to be able to get out of that place of fear, because fear stops you dead in your tracks. And fear is an absolute 100% blocker to manifesting whatever it is that you wanted. And so it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. So it's like, let's talk about how do we unwind ourselves from those places where we're just deadlocked in there. So those are some of the tips that I have for that. There's so many that you can do, and it's really just about trying to get to the next better feeling, not to go from, despair to joy, but just to go from, like utter depression to, frustration or annoyance, or, sometimes anger. Anger can actually, you don't want to stay there, but if you're getting from fear to a place of anger, now you're starting to get things moving in the right direction. You've gone out of that downward spiral, and you're starting to work your way back up, because all of these emotions have energy to them, and it's really just like, how can I lighten that energy? And that's huge. So I definitely want to, encourage you to share how you get out of fear, because again, remember at the beginning of this, we are all contributing to the energy of this video. And so when we're all sharing what our solutions are, that is just adding so much power and momentum to releasing those blocks, and to allowing more of a flow of abundance into your life. Okay, so let's go to the third blocker. And this one's going to be a little bit more out there, but bear with me here. So one of the keys, if you're, watching any videos on manifestation whatsoever, is always about like visualization, right? And visualizing that outcome. And to me, absolutely critical is to be in the place as if your wish is fulfilled, right? That it has already come. And so what often gets in our way when we're trying to do that is like one, we'll try it one time and then it doesn't happen. And then we just give up and say, like, look around me, I am not abundantly wealthy, right? But so first, keep at it. But then you have to ignore your current reality around you. And so here's why. Your current reality is a result of your past thoughts. So I'm going to assume that anyone watching this video is familiar with the phrase, your thoughts create your reality. If you believe that, and hopefully you do, because they do, then your current reality that you see, everything you're touching right now, is simply a result of your past thoughts. The thoughts you're thinking right now that you're trying to manifest, you want to continue to create those thoughts of what you want to be tangible in your future state. And so often what happens is we just get distracted or frustrated or discouraged by our current reality. And so I just have to remind myself that, just because something is the way that it is right now today doesn't mean that it cannot happen, because anything is possible. And I truly mean that, because our imagination is that divine spark of God, Spirit, Allah within us. So our imagination truly is creating our reality. And your thoughts and the quality of your thoughts and the emotion behind your thoughts is what's going to create that. So you have to get so good at monitoring your thoughts and catching yourself. You will not be perfect at envisioning that desired outcome, right? Let's talk about wealth. So, the fact that you don't have a certain number in your bank account right now, or the experience of wealth, then, it is hard to get past that at times. But like, one of the ways I've done this is I have talked about it as if it's happened. So I'll talk about, like, I remember when that first time I saw over $1 million in my checking account. And I remember, like, I was so beyond thrilled. I was jumping up and down. I was doing my happy dance. I was like celebrating. I took my friends out for dinner, and I took my mom and my sisters to Europe and flew them first class, because I had over $1 million in my account, and I just knew that I didn't have to ever worry about any of, like, the mundane life experiences. Like, my bills were paid. There was no worries that I had about money. And it wasn't that I was just recklessly spending it all, but I was really in the place of joy and gratitude about seeing this money in my account. And I love that I look every day at my checking account and see that it's not just $1 million, it's like $1.25 million. I've got more than $1 million, right? And that's such a milestone. Like, like, to be a millionaire is just one thing that people have always thought of when they think about acquiring wealth. And so to see that in my account every day, it makes me happy. It makes me happy to see it in my account every day. And even though I know that I could put it somewhere else and make it work harder for me, I've got so much money other places working hard for me that I keep it in there just because it makes me happy. And I know that when I do things that make me happy, that it's sending a signal to the universe like, hey, this is making Laura happy, so let's give her more of that, right? So that's an example of how I talk about it. And yes, I do talk about it out loud to myself when no one's around, in my car, driving down the street, in my house, sitting at my desk. I do it because it makes a difference. I do it more than once. I do it several times a week. Sometimes I forget to do it every day, but it's one of those things that I continually go back to because it matters, because it's about creating this belief system within me as my desire has already come to pass, that it's normal for me, that I expect it every time I log into my checking account, that this is just not something new, but I get to talk about it as if it's happened in the past. And my body, because, the way that our brains work, it doesn't know the difference between when I am imagining it or when it's actually happening. And so it just starts to draw that to me. And again, if we go back through these three blockers, right, where, we want to make sure that all of our beliefs around what we're trying to overcome are in fact in the same direction, right? So we have to uncover where our opposing beliefs are. And then we have to get fear out of the way. And then we have to make sure that we're not getting distracted by what's around us currently and what we actually want to achieve. And if we're able to kind of use those tools, we're going to like really knock out a good portion of what keeps things from coming to us. So I definitely wanted to walk you all through some of those things right now. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a guided meditation, because I want you to experience this as well. And we're going to do just take a few minutes to, think about right now, like what's that desired outcome that you're targeting, and I used wealth as one of the examples today, but like think for yourself, what is it that you're trying to overcome? And again, I'm going to ask you all to kind of tune in again, like, as if, think of it as if we were all sitting around in a room, in a circle, and now we're just going to kind of close our eyes. And I'm bringing my energy level down because I had to like be energetic during our conversation before, but like bring yourself down, right? Like, envision your feet like connecting to the earth, and then also kind of think of connecting with whatever your version of divine is, or, and it could be just simply nature, right? Whatever you have as that belief system, and and connect with the earth, connect with the divine. And if you feel so called, call in spirit, call in your guides, and set the intention for spirit and your guides to not only work with you, but to work with everyone else in the circle as well, so that we can all share and help one another release some of those blocks that we're going to just touch on in our meditation. So again, as you're kind of getting grounded here, getting centered, you've called in your guides. All right. And now we're kind of holding into our mind, what is that we want to manifest right now? And let's just focus on one thing. And as you're thinking about what it is that you want to create in your life, I want you to focus on, I want you to think about that, like say, I want to be wealthy. I want to lose weight. I want to meet my soulmate. One of those statements like that. And pay attention in your body to where you feel that. Pay attention to where you feel that in your body. And when you listen to that, and you can say it over again, right? I want to be rich. I want to be, in love. I want to, lose 50 pounds. And pay attention to where you feel that in your body. And even if you don't, that's okay. Not everyone feels things the same way, and that's okay. I just want you to know if you're not noticing that. But what I want you to do is, if you did notice it someplace in your body, just sit with that place and just send a blessing to that place. And if you didn't notice it, then just send a blessing to yourself. And also, we'll take a moment to send a blessing to everyone else in the circle as well. Because the more that we're giving that energy, that healing energy to others, the more we're getting back as well. The universe is abundant. Like the more you give, the more you receive. So let's send out those positive energy vibrations to everyone in the group, and that they're able to release any beliefs that are getting in their way. And if you notice that there are certain things that are coming up for you around this topic, again, think about that. And like, if you heard yourself, like the example I gave with rich people are greedy, then, just bless those thoughts, right? It's not about pushing it away. It's really about just kind of allowing it to be. It's really about being aware of it. And then blessing it and just letting that resistance dissolve away. So as we go through, and I'm going to move forward. So we want to see if there's any check-in with the body. Just ask a simple question. Do I have any fears around what my desired outcome is? Do I have any fears about being rich? And if I hear an internal yes, please trust that voice inside. And if you do notice that you get that, then, again, we don't have to dive deep into it. It's something that you can go back and journal about and meditate on later. But just say thank you for the answer. And just, again, bring in some white light, bring in, ask spirit or your guides for assistance with releasing that fear, releasing any patterns that may be around that fear, releasing all the belief systems that play into that fear. Just allowing that place of fear again. It's, the whole ability to release isn't in opposing it. It's about being aware of it and just allowing that energy to shift into a different space. Sometimes I've been able to even see it shrinking or feel it shrinking. And if you're able to imagine that, that's great too. So then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to think of that fear almost as if it's in a balloon. If you still have any residual fear, like think of it as a balloon that you just let go of the string and allow it to just float away. And just notice, what does that feel like in your body as you just look up? Like, what color is the balloon? What does the sky look like? And just seeing it floating away and getting smaller and smaller until you don't see it anymore. You know what we want to do? Let's take a moment to really think about remembering what it was like when you achieved that manifested outcome you were trying for. And I'll just say this, what was it like when you got it? What was it like? Who were you with when you got that outcome? How did you feel? How did you celebrate? If it's something that you can hold, then feel it in your hand, right? If it's something that is like, well, like the wealth example, then like imagine what it's like holding your phone and just looking at your screen and seeing a dollar amount that you achieve and 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 think about many different ways that you celebrated, that it's not just a one-time celebration, that it's how are you feeling every day with this in your life? If it's losing weight, like how wonderful does it feel that you had to go out and buy all new clothes? What are you wearing now? How do you feel? Like, who are you now after you had achieved this? Are you more confident? Do you have such a sense of relief knowing that you're not worried about money anymore? Do you just feel your soulmate's arms wrapped around you and just feel so grateful for that love that they share with you every single day? Do you hear them saying like, I can't I can't believe how long it took me to find you. I've missed you so much. I'm so grateful for you in my life, right? Or with the money, how how has that changed your life? What do you do every day with this new experience of financial freedom? Really feel it. And so just hopefully you're really enjoying that. I am going to start bringing you back and just know that this is that place. This is possible. this is what you are creating that you will feel in your reality. And you are very much creating that. So just start coming back slowly. Imagine like the room that we're in, sitting in a circle, like imagine the lights coming back up, looking around at everyone, smiling at them, grateful to have shared in this experience. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes as you open your eyes back up. And I really want to thank you for participating in this. Like, thank you for really just being all in with this. I love to be able to share this with you. I think that that this is so valuable and it's such a blessing for me to be able to just share my experience with you. And that's a perfect way, a perfect segue into the end of this particular video, which is gratitude is powerful. Gratitude is the most powerful tool that you have in manifesting your dream life, because gratitude is in that place where you cannot feel fear and gratitude at the same time. You are living as if you are already blessed when you are in a place of gratitude. And the more that you are able to be in gratitude about this very moment, the more the universe sees, oh, okay, let's give her more. So on that note, please like this video, please subscribe, please share this with a friend who you think would really enjoy being able to go through this process. And thank you again for just showing up, for participating, for exchanging your energy, and for contributing to this outcome for everyone. And share in the comments. Let me know what you experienced. Let me know what that's like, and definitely share what you find works for you, for everyone. Because again, the more that we share, the more that we give, the more we receive. So I end that today with such blessings to you all, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. So take care.